Who killed Gucciyni Sylve and Natasha Middleton? We have yet another murder-suicide. This time, it happened in South Carolina. Yesterday, on October 1st, the Georgetown County Coroner's Office took to Facebook to identify the victims and the shooter in Friday evening's double murder-suicide in the city of Andrews. Natasha Middleton, 44, and her daughter, Gucciyni Sylve, 23, were shot at their home in Andrews. Middleton was pronounced deceased at the scene, and Sylve was transported to Tideland's Georgetown Memorial Hospital, where she later died. Franklin Felder, 41, has been identified as the shooter and later died at Tideland's Georgetown Memorial Hospital from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Autopsies will be performed on Wednesday. That's all that was publicly announced, but I performed my own investigation. And not only did I discover some troubling details, but I learned a lot about the people involved. Gucciyni was a proud soldier and a wife. She and her husband Tillman were happily raising a family, which included their newborn, Phoenix. She resided in Hawaii and had only just arrived in South Carolina on September 23rd to visit her family. She was beloved by her friends, all of whom ironically shared their most recent posts in memory of her, and their most recent posts were posts that she tagged them in. Natasha Middleton was obviously the life of the party. And I could just tell by looking at her Facebook page that she had the kind of sense of humor that reminds me of one of my aunties that passed, where she could make anybody laugh, the type of person that could make a day at work fly by. She earned a career as a truck driver and took pride in raising her son to be a hard-working young man, the type of son that would make anybody proud, holding 3 jobs at just the age of 16. She posted videos at work with her fellow co-workers who made a day at work look like a party. And her everyday engagement on social media as an everyday person was lit like she was a celebrity. I'm sure she'll be remembered as one of a kind and a person who raised her children well. Now, this man, Franklin Felder, he was a married man. He had a few daughters who were posting about him on social media in disbelief that he had died. And as one would expect, the relatives of his victims did not take kind to any post about this man. And there are tensions brewing between the families. People who knew both him and his wife have speculated that he had been in a relationship with Natasha Middleton. I haven't seen anything to suggest that. However, I did find some posts attributed to him that were long-winded and very disturbing. He posted to Facebook that he was in love with a woman who cheated on him with the father of one of her children, although they had no kids together. He continues to assert that the two of them had no problems going through each other's phones. One day, he noticed a number that he didn't recognize. He texted the person called. When he answered, the person didn't speak, and he began to question this woman about this phone number. He opened the text and noticed that they had been having conversations for quite some time. He demanded that she look him in his eyes and tell him he did not read what he had just read. He states that his blood was boiling. He said what he said, and he did what he did, although he did not elaborate. He states that the woman confesses to interacting with another man because they were short on money, and that he was heartbroken because if she needed money, he would have did what was necessary to get it. It's a lengthy post from an emotional man, and it's not clear exactly who he was talking about, but it's the only thing he posted to social media, aside from an update that he was listening to an album called Broken Heart. Not a single person responded to his post. Now, to be completely honest about this, I don't know if there's a right way to deal with these types of situations. This is like the third or fourth one this year that we've covered where a man commits murder suicide seemingly because his heart's broken. I just found out yesterday, I don't know how true this is, but in the case of Lyric Woods and Devin Clark, the person who killed those two are in the hospital right now because he tried to commit suicide and he failed. This seems to be an epidemic. And it seems to be something primarily carried out by heartbroken men. Social media is our fingerprint, okay? And when we die, you know, that's what we leave as our legacy, our digital legacy. You understand? And the legacy left by these two people, it's another one to where you look at them and you say, okay, well, these seem to be irreplaceable people. I mean, a brand new bride, and her mother in particular just seemed to be such a joy to be around. She received so much love on social media. She just seemed like the type of person people would go out of their way to be around. You know what I mean? And I had somebody like that in my family. And when she passed, it seemed like the whole family just broke up and just never got together between all of my cousins and aunties and uncles. After this particular auntie passed away, the family just went their separate ways, and some of us haven't seen each other in decades. You know, I'm baffled. There's no way to solve this. What is the secret to fix these men's hearts so that they don't go out and commit these atrocious crimes? That's a non-starter, because who's responsible for that? Okay, you're talking about like selfishness to an impossible degree. People who want to manifest death and then take themselves out instead of just doing it to themselves and leaving everybody else alone. They want to inflict maximum pain, all because of a broken heart. It's not anything that I could fathom. Unfortunately, this seems like a new trend, and I believe we're on track to see something like this once a month already. Once a month. I think this is one for women out there to tackle, because there seems to be three components when it comes to these crimes that we see: a triangle, the rejection of monogamy, and the man on the losing end of the equation. Just a pattern that I've observed, not necessarily the case in any specific situation, but it's a pattern nonetheless. And I get the feeling that next month, when the next one happens, it's gonna be the same thing. So I just can't get Natasha Middleton out of my head for some reason, because, you know, it's very rare to find people that you want to be around. And just looking at her social media, she just seemed like the type of person I would call for no reason, you know, especially if I'm having a bad day. So I'm probably going to be thinking about her for the rest of the day, and how sad it is to just lose a person filled with so much joy. But I'm out of solutions on this. These broken hearts are complicated and hard to understand. If you have any suggestions to help avoid tragedies like this, please share them, because it can possibly save some lives.